Have you ever experienced a whisper of guidance in the depths of your essence? A faint sound that propels you toward an unexplored path? That is your elevated version. The wise and benevolent nature that dwells within you, desiring to establish contact, directing you toward your maximum capacity. But what happens if you are wasting its profound understanding? Simply because you have not developed the ability to pay attention, this must be completely prevented to achieve it. We need to understand that the journey begins by synchronizing ourselves with the present moment. The present transcends being merely a temporal portion. It is the portal to connect with our higher version in the teachings of numerous spiritual currents. The present moment is celebrated as the only authentic truth. Yesterday and tomorrow are mental creations that frequently distance us from the vital essence that manifests here and in this moment. But how do we synchronize with the present? Visualize walking through a grove. Your mind is a whirlwind of ideas about what awaits you the next day or meditations about the past. In this condition, the beauty of the forest, the song of the birds, the whisper of the foliage, and the aroma of the earth become mere ambient sound. However, if you stop, breathe deeply, and allow yourself to be genuinely in that moment, something transforms. The grove comes alive, and in that vitality you discover a portion of yourself that awakens. This conscious self is more open, serene, and unified. It is in this condition of union that the whispers of our higher version become perceptible. The method of synchronizing with the present moment resembles the ancestral discipline of mindfulness. It consists of being totally involved with what we do, experience, or reflect upon in the moment without criticism or distraction. This does not imply neglecting our obligations or projecting the future. Rather, participating in our current experience with total consciousness. When we clean the dishes, we perceive the temperature of the water and the smoothness of the plates. When we eat, we enjoy each portion, observing the textures and tastes. Stories from diverse currents resonate with this understanding. Reflect on the Zen story of the tea ceremony, where the process of preparing and consuming is not merely a custom, but a profound discipline of mindfulness. Each phase, from heating water to serving, is executed with concentration and complete presence, transforming the ordinary into the divine. This story teaches us that by immersing ourselves in the now, we generate a space for our higher version to communicate with us. But why does the present moment possess such force? Because in the present, the clamor of the ego is reduced. The ego flourishes in yesterday and tomorrow, in lamentations and worries. When we establish ourselves in it, now the domination of the ego weakens and our genuine essence can radiate. This essence is not tainted by social expectations, fears, or predetermined stories. It is pure, genuine, and infinitely wise. It is the portion of us that knows our true path, our deepest longings, and our unexplored capacities by synchronizing with the present moment. Therefore, it does not refer only to mindfulness. It refers to establishing a channel for our higher version to guide us, to opening our hearts and minds to the wisdom that has always remained there, waiting for us to perceive it. As we initiate this journey of synchronization, we find that the guidance we seek is closer than we believed. It is found in the gentle impulse to choose a different route on our morning walk, in the sudden revelation that emerges when we are fully involved in an activity, or in the tranquility that embraces us when we truly pay attention to someone. To connect with intuitive perception and hear the higher version, we need to immerse ourselves in a discipline deeply established in the understanding of sages and visionaries throughout time. Connecting with intuitive perception. Intuition, frequently characterized as internal knowing or gut feeling, is a direct connection with our higher version. It bypasses the analytical mind, providing guidance that feels both profound and naturally correct. This section of our inquiry aims to reveal how to use this powerful tool. Visualize finding yourself at a fork in the road without signs or maps to guide you. Your mind can examine each path, evaluating advantages and disadvantages, but there exists a portion of you that already understands where to go. This knowing does not shout. It whispers, pushing you gently but with determination. That is intuition operating, a compass gifted by our higher version. Connecting with our intuition begins by recognizing that it employs a different language than our rational mind. It expresses itself through emotions, perceptions, and occasionally through symbols, visions, or contemplations. To perceive it, we need to develop a different way of listening. One way to cultivate this connection is by generating space for quietude and contemplation in the frenzy of daily existence. The voice of our intuition is easily silenced. By reserving time for calm, we allow ourselves to perceive it with greater clarity. This could be achieved through contemplation, spending time in the natural environment, or simply remaining silent with our thoughts. The fundamental thing is to remain receptive and available without anticipations. The discipline of connecting with intuition resembles mastering a new instrument. Initially, the sounds may be clumsy and uncertain, but with patience and practice, we begin to identify the melody. Similarly, by connecting with our intuition, we develop the ability to distinguish its guidance from the cacophony of our thoughts and feelings. Philosophical currents like Stoicism emphasize the relevance of self-reflection and listening to the inner voice as paths to understanding. They teach us that within each one resides a source of knowledge uncontaminated by external influences. By looking within ourselves, we connect with this source. It is also useful to maintain a record of intuitive perceptions and visceral sensations. Over time, you will observe patterns and how frequently your intuition guided you toward the appropriate direction. This not only strengthens your faith in your internal guidance system, but also helps clarify the ways in which your higher version communicates with you. However, connecting with intuition also demands discernment. It is essential to distinguish between reactions based on fear and authentic intuitive guidance. Fear is frequently strident, persistent, and based on past experiences or future worries. Intuition, in contrast, feels more stable, serene, and balanced, even if it leads us out of our comfort zone. This journey of connecting with our intuition resonates with the teachings of the thinker Baruch Spinoza, who lived in the 17th century. Spinoza maintained that by understanding our internal nature and the nature of the cosmos, we would achieve authentic joy and tranquility. He maintained that everything in the cosmos is interconnected, and by synchronizing our mind with this universal truth, we can access a deeper understanding. Spinoza's philosophy impels us to observe beyond our direct perceptions and feelings toward the fundamental reality that unites us all. He proposes that by proceeding thus, we connect with a modality of intuition much deeper than simple hunches. This intuition is an immediate understanding of the unity of all things that brings a sensation of serenity and satisfaction, according to Spinoza. To achieve this state of understanding and connection, we must develop a certain way of existing and reflecting. This involves accepting our emotions and experiences not as absolute truths, but as elements of a more extensive and complex puzzle. By observing and meditating on our experiences without attachment, we can begin to perceive the broader patterns and laws that govern the cosmos. By connecting with our intuition, we open ourselves to guidance that is perfectly synchronized with our soul's journey. It is a reminder that we are not isolated on this path. Our higher version always accompanies us, offering direction and support. Chapter Shadow Work. Venturing even deeper into the depths of self-discovery and connection with our higher version, we adventure into the territory of shadow work. This discipline, frequently neglected but profoundly transformative, invites us to confront and incorporate the portions of ourselves that we have discarded. Shadow work is not merely a method. It is a journey toward completeness where we discover the hidden treasures of our psyche and develop the ability to embrace the total spectrum of our being. The concept of the shadow was initially presented by Carl Jung, who maintained that within each one resides an unconscious aspect that we perceive as negative and therefore choose to suppress. These suppressed portions can encompass everything from unrecognized fears to repressed longings and unresolved internal conflicts. By neglecting them, we grant these shadows dominion over our existences, frequently manifesting as inexplicable anguish, self-sabotage, and patterns from which it seems impossible to free ourselves. Shadow work demands courage. It requests that we immerse ourselves in the portions of ourselves that we have been taught to hide or feel shame about. However, it is within these dark corners that our higher version whispers invaluable truths, guiding us toward healing and authenticity. The process begins with recognition. First, we need to accept that the shadow exists and that it contains fundamental perspectives about our deeper being. This step is not about judgment, but about curiosity and compassion. Visualize encountering a fearful child in a dark forest. Would you walk away or approach with understanding and care? This child represents the neglected portions of ourselves that long for recognition and love. Reflection plays a fundamental role in shadow work through disciplines like reflective writing, contemplation, and guided visualization. We can explore our internal landscape and establish a dialogue with our shadows. Questions like, what do I fear most? Or why does this particular situation impact me so deeply? Can open doors to profound perspectives. Integration is the goal of shadow work. It does not refer to eliminating these darker aspects, but to understanding their origin and finding ways to incorporate them into our being. This integration brings a sensation of serenity and completeness, as we stop wasting energy trying to combat or suppress portions of ourselves. Philosophical and spiritual currents from around the planet speak of the relevance of accepting our entire being. The Taoist concept of yin-yang, for example, teaches us about the balance of opposites, suggesting that harmony arises from recognizing and incorporating all aspects of existence, including our own nature. Through shadow work, we learn that our higher version is not only the light, but also the darkness. It is the synthesis of everything we are. By incorporating our shadows, we become more authentic and empowered, capable of navigating life with greater understanding and compassion. Reflect on the parable of the two wolves within us representing light and darkness. The one that flourishes is the one we nourish, but true power arises from understanding and recognizing both. This teaches us that denying our darkness only leads to imbalance, while embracing it leads to true strength and harmony. Dream interpretation. Dreams, those enigmatic narratives that unfold while we rest, are not simply random sequences of thoughts and images. They are loaded with symbolism and messages from our subconscious, and indeed from our higher version. Participating in dream interpretation opens a unique and powerful channel for understanding our longings, fears, and guidance toward personal development. Dreams have been considered in all cultures and epochs as windows to the soul, offering perspectives that the waking mind might ignore or suppress. From the dream temples of ancient Greece to the psychoanalytic couch of Freud and Jung, dreams have been examined to unlock messages from the deepest corners of the psyche. By exploring our dreams, we can obtain perspectives on our path, discover hidden forces, and address unresolved issues. The process of dream interpretation begins with the simple act of remembering. Keeping a dream journal next to your bed and noting dreams upon awakening helps preserve the ephemeral messages delivered during rest. This act of recording can be a meditation in itself, a way of communicating to the higher version that you are listening and receptive to its understanding. Interpreting dreams requires a receptive mind and patience. Dreams employ the language of symbols, where objects, people, and scenarios are not always what they appear to be. A dwelling might represent the self, and the condition of the dwelling might reflect your current emotional or psychological state. Water frequently symbolizes emotions, and the state of the water, calm, stormy, clear, turbid, can provide perspectives on your emotional well-being. The process is not about applying universal meanings, but about exploring what the symbols and narratives mean personally to you. It involves asking yourself questions about how you felt in the dream, the prominent symbols, and their relevance in your waking life. This introspective discipline can illuminate your deepest longings, fears, and the steps you may need to take toward healing and fulfillment. Jung's psychology offers a valuable framework for dream interpretation, emphasizing the role of archetypes and the collective unconscious. According to Jung, our dreams are not only personal, but they connect with a universal repository of symbols and themes shared among all human beings. By deciphering these symbols, we can connect not only with our higher version but also with humanity's collective understanding. Dream interpretation is also a discipline of mindfulness. It impels us to live more conscious of our inner world, recognizing the interconnection of our conscious and unconscious lives. By paying attention to our dreams, we validate the value of our internal experiences, fostering a deeper relationship with ourselves. Reflect on the story of the dreamer who, lost in a vast desert in his dream, finds an oasis with a single tree in the center. The dreamer perceives this tree as a symbol of resistance and nourishment upon awakening. They reflect on this symbol, recognizing their need for self-care and connection with nature in their life. Awake, this dream, a message from his higher version, provoked a significant change in his life path. Dream interpretation is a journey to the depths of the self, a dialogue with our higher version that can illuminate, challenge, and inspire. It is an invitation to explore the unexplored territories of our subconscious, revealing layers of meaning and guidance that can profoundly impact our waking life. Meaningful synchronicities. These meaningful coincidences occur when apparently disconnected events align in a way that possesses relevant personal meaning. Synchronicities are whispers from the cosmos, hints from our higher version that we are on the appropriate path, or perhaps messages that impel us to pay attention to something relevant in our lives. To participate in synchronicities, the first step is developing a mentality of openness and consciousness. This involves paying attention to the patterns and symbols that arise in our lives and recognizing the potential meaning they might possess. This does not imply seeking signs in everything, but rather remaining receptive to the possibility that certain events, encounters, or symbols may carry a message from our higher version. For example, you might reflect on a friend you haven't seen in years and then encounter them unexpectedly shortly after, or during a period of indecision, you come across a book or a quote that speaks directly to your situation, offering clarity and direction. These are not simple coincidences, but synchronicities that can guide us toward our higher purpose or offer solutions to our problems. Participating in synchronicities requires a balance between skepticism and faith. It is not about blindly following every sign or event as if it possessed divine meaning, but about maintaining an open and receptive mind to possibilities. Jung's psychology also offers valuable perspectives on synchronicities. He maintained that these meaningful coincidences are manifestations of the deep connection between our individual psyche and the broader cosmos. For Jung, synchronicities are not only external events, but indicators of an underlying flow of energy and meaning that unites all existence. By participating in synchronicities, we immerse ourselves in this flow, recognizing our interconnection with the cosmos and opening the door to deeper guidance. Synchronicities can act as beacons in the twilight, guiding us through difficult times or pointing out hidden opportunities. But to benefit completely from them, we must be prepared to listen, to abandon our anticipations, and allow the cosmos to astonish us. Reflect on the synchronicity of a blocked artist who, after weeks of frustration, encounters a stranger in a cafe who casually mentions a pictorial technique he had never contemplated. Inspired by this chance encounter, the artist experiments with the technique and finds a new form of expression. This synchronicity, a message from his higher version, leads him to unlock his creativity and find a new direction in his art. Synchronicities are reminders that we are not isolated in our journey. The cosmos is full of mysteries and magic waiting to be discovered. By participating in these meaningful coincidences, we open ourselves to the guidance and support of our higher version, trusting that we are on the appropriate path, even when everything seems to be in disorder. If you made it this far, I congratulate you. You are among the few people who possess the ability to maintain such attention. And so that I know you made it this far, comment, "I am awake," and I will personally greet you in the comments. And here we conclude today's teaching. If it served to expand your mind a little more, we would enormously appreciate if you could leave your like and subscribe to continue learning about topics as fascinating as this. Thank you for your attention. Until next time.